he absolutely lost his stuff on me and cursed me out. And I was like, dude, I thought we were cool, man. And he said a bunch of words and I'm like,
well, this one goes in a lot of directions that, well, quite frankly, I didn't see coming. He is a Bassmaster Classic qualifier. He is a former Bass Nation national champion. He is the pride of Hawaii. Matty Wong joins me this week on...
I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Welcome one, welcome all, friends, family, freeloaders, fishing freaks, and of course you, my humpers. Happy hump day to all of you, and welcome into the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, which is Mercer. This is the 247th edition of the Mercer Podcast, and I hope wherever you're watching or listening from, that life is treating you well. I'm sure a bunch of you are still digging, chipping, and trying to get your way through this winter megastorm and the storm of the century. I hate that the weather people name every storm. It's Snowmageddon. But they were not wrong with this one. In most situations, it was very, very aggressive. I mean, in my part of the world, we got the most snow we've ever got in a 24-hour period, and we're good at getting snow. So it was intense. But that being said, I am thankful that we did not get the ice, because you see the devastation in places like Tennessee and stuff like that. And I hope everybody is safe and getting their way through it, because the weather has been weird. I mean, literally last night we had an earthquake here. That's right. I mean, we were getting ready to go to bed. My wife was in bed. I was brushing my teeth. She said everything's shaking. I told her, maybe you're possessed. Turns out she's not possessed. We actually had an earthquake. I think it was 4.1, which, speaking to earthquake people, is not that aggressive, but it shook our house, and definitely was something to talk about. But this bad weather came at a good time for me, to be totally honest, because this is cram week for me. This is when I prepare for the Elite Series and bury my face in books, studying, getting ready for the new season, and brushing up on people's achievements and statistics, so that hopefully when the time comes, I will hopefully know them. So when you go through that process, there's, you look at past research and stuff like that. And one thing that pokes up is we always get excited about the 10 incoming rookies and how exciting it is for them. But there's also those that have been relegated, those that are no longer on the Elite Series. And that's not an easy thing. And we actually have one of those anglers on the show here this week. And, it's wild. So Matty Wong's our guest this week, obviously. And Matty, I always tell you guys that we don't have a plan. I just have a conversation when I get people on the show. And for the most part, that's totally the truth. But I generally know what direction it's going to go. In your head, you're like, oh, it'll go like this. Like, for example, a Matty Wong podcast. I mean, he's going to tell us about centering ourselves as a human, how to be, just all that, that. And you're going to talk about what he's doing now and what his future is. I mean, that's the direction it's going to go. Well, this one didn't go that direction. Matty, well, this show becomes a bit of an airing of the grievances. And I didn't expect it to go that way. But I always say that my name is on the show, but each episode belongs to the anglers. They take it in whatever direction they choose. And he definitely took it in a direction. That being said, I think we also have to understand that these guys are humans. I mean, we're fans of the sport, but they are human beings. They go through different things and they have different things going on. And being eliminated from the Elite Series is not easy. Being on the Elite Series at times is not easy. And I think we hear some of that in this very candid conversation. And I'm thankful that Matty, trusted me enough to have this conversation. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Another interesting thing was a call that I made. And I have to be straight up with this. At the beginning of the conversation, Matty said, I'm not going to name any names. And then as the conversation flowed, names started coming out. And I made the decision to beep those names. I made it with Matty. Because earlier in the thing, he said, I'm not going to name any names. And we just kind of kept with that by beeping them out. And here's the reason why. Some of you might like that decision. Some of you might not like that decision. But I didn't want to get in the middle of a he said, she said battle. There's different sides to every story. And this isn't, I'm not an investigative journalist. I'm not here. It's one of the few rules that I have in my life. I never get in the middle of angler debates and squabbles on the water because I'm not there. It's theirs to hash out. And quite frankly, I think it should be over when they leave the water. So rather than leave the names in and make a few people on the internet happy so they can say, well, whatever, I decided to beep them out because I just think it's the higher road and it's probably the right thing. Maybe it's not. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. I'm sure you will. But this is a very revealing, very candid, very cool conversation. So now we travel to, the one part of the world that isn't dealing with ice and snow. We travel to Hawaii and we hook up with the one and only Matty Wong.
Oh, that's a perfect way to start a podcast right there. The sip of a coffee cup. Aloha, Matty Wong.
Aloha kakayaka, Dave. Good to see you, my friend.
What did you say after the aloha?
Kakayaka. It means good morning because it's 10 a.m. over here. So I know it's in the afternoon.
Kakayaka.
Kakayaka. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's strong.
I get that.
No. So when you're in Hawaii, are you straight? Do you speak Hawaiian almost always?
I don't olala Hawaii, which is the Hawaiian language. But I speak Pidgin to my friends and whatnot.
Pidgin.
So Pidgin, it's like Creole English. It's like, oh, how's it, bro? Where you stay? Like, it's like its own thing. And it's fun because I can, throughout my life, I've learned to be able to turn it on and turn it off at certain points. And especially here locally, there's definitely times you want to turn it on because otherwise it won't suit you. Otherwise, but yeah, no, it's cool. I want to learn more Alala Hawaii, which is like I was saying, the Hawaiian language. That's something that I'm actively trying to get better at, being back home in the islands and whatnot. And it's not. I'm Chinese, but I feel like I have a lot of local pride in being from Hawaii. So the Hawaiian side, that I wish I had Hawaiian blood in me, but it's being able to conversate with my Hawaiian friends. It's kind of a cool like resurgence that people are now doing more of, because when back during the annexation of Hawaii, it got banned. Like speaking the Hawaiian language was banned.
Really?
So yeah. It's kind of neat that this in the modern day, there's been a massive resurgence. I'm just trying to bring this because it's an oral tradition that's just passed down just through voice. So before it wasn't written, it wasn't nothing like that. So it's kind of cool. Little history lesson.
Do you think people of your age are more interested? Like it feels like there's a little bit of a resurgence for whatever culture it is. Like people want to get in contact with that more now.
Yeah, I think in the digital age that we're in, people are losing meaning. And when you lose meaning, you want to give yourself something excited to wake up about, right? So in Japan, there's a term in Japanese and I can't think of it, but it's like literally it's the drive when you wake up that gives you meaning and gives you purpose. There's a saying. And I don't know if that's the case, but I think with social media and digital, everyone's just losing meaning because it's just like, we're just scrolling now, I'm just just scrolling. And I think when you have, whether it's cultural, or, you know, if it's, through fishing or hobbies, it's like people want to like really draw in and get good at that thing. And like you said earlier, before we hopped on, it's like, whatever you do, you should strive to be the best at. And whether it's, if you want to get closer to your culture or to the thing that, you know, I guess for me, it was like, I was pretty much raised in a local culture over here, and Hawaiian wasn't really spoken at all when I was a little kid. And there was only the professors that could speak Hawaiian. And now I have like my friends' kids are speaking Olelo Hawaii to each other. And I'm like, wow, uncle wants to learn this. Like, you know, I want to learn. And I could speak a little bit of Japanese. And I just want to be a multicultural facet, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You like to learn, don't you? Like I take it as, like, I don't think like you're going to be an old man reading books and like, I mean, that is not a bad thing to read books, but you know what I mean? Like you just feel like one of those people that whatever you do, you want to learn all about it.
Oh, totally. I mean, that's like one of the spices of life, right? Is knowledge and experience and being able to experience certain things and have a life full of experiences and lived experiences versus just seeing it from afar. So yeah, it gives me purpose to keep learning.
Yeah, makes sense. I think it's a very valuable. I think when people start punching stamps on days and just going through days, that's when I mean, and I think everybody goes through stages in their life where they're doing something and they're like, yeah, I'm just kind of. But if you're really lucky, you get to chase something every single day. But right now, we find you. When last I was with you, we were on the Elite Series stage. And now we find you in Hawaii. Like you're living there full time now? Like how long have you been there?
I moved home in October. And and so I do have a bass cat on its way to Texas. So I will be popping intermittently in and out of the West Coast in Texas because I'm still obsessed with bass fishing.
Yeah.
But it feels like I moved home full time in October, and it's been wild, man. I'm just.
What does that feel like to just stop, like you are now? Like, you know what I mean? Like you were traveling. Sorry to interrupt you, but you were traveling so much, and now it's like.
To give the listeners and viewers an idea of what it's like to be on the Elite Series, it's a nonstop carousel of intensity, and to no lack of a better term, but exhaustion to the next level when you're doing it from afar. And what I mean by afar, you don't have your support group within an 8-hour drive or a 6-hour drive, which 98% of the people on the Elite Series have. I mean, given, Gussie and the boys up in Canada, and given the Japanese anglers like Taku and Kenta and, Kyoya, but everyone else is within literal, like, a day's drive or less of their support group. And I've been away from home for almost 13 years. And before I got on the Elites, I was traveling a ton with a photography business. And now with the last 4 years on the Elites, I haven't unpacked my bags in 4 years. And so, like I was saying, the carousel of intensity, it's my Yeti duffel bag stayed packed. And when I would come home, I would still live out of that same Yeti stuffed with Sims gear and lateral vision gear. And like, I would just alternate out, repack it, and then leave. And I would only be in a place no longer than 2 weeks, except for the end of the season where I would come home and be able to see my friends and family and be able to settle in just for like, a little bit of time. And then got to go back to Texas, get a boat rigged, get it wrapped, do the whole process, and then head to Florida. I can't tell you how happy I am to not heading down to go and get a boat rigged, to go and get it wrapped, to go and deal with that stuff. Like, I am so full right now being home, being with my family and my friends. And it is, I can happily look back and say that my time on the Elites was unforgettable and truly a special period in my life. But I'm so happy that I was able to come to a close with that. Yeah. Because it was nuts, man. I think, like, when it comes to whether you want to believe it or not, but like mental health is a thing, physical health is a thing. All these things were playing into it. I wasn't the healthiest on tour, man. You don't eat the greatest when you're, I mean, and no, not giving cracks to the small towns, but it's like, you're not able to get good produce or, you know, like a lot of things. Like, I mean, it's true. You go in and you're like, okay, great. I got a biscuit sandwich. And if I'm lucky, I can get a banana. Besides that, it's like Uncrustables and, like, you know, microwave dinners. And for me, I like to eat healthy. You know, I like to take care of my body. I like to eat fresh as much as I can. And that was super hard being on tour. And so I found myself cooking most of the time. And it was cool because me and Jonathan Kelly, aka Pebbles, like we would just cook all the time. And he was, you know, he likes to work out, so he likes to eat clean. And I was doing my own Hawaii local cuisines that I would get him to try. And but yeah, no, it's to sum up the answer. I'm back home. I've been home since October. So like about almost 4 months now. And it's definitely a transition. There was, I think, I had like one little blip of FOMO, where I was like watching guys break in their boats and stuff. And I'm just like, and then I forgot what it was. It was like Logan Parks or something, or it was like Cooper or Logan, where like their boat was stuck to their trailer. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't miss that. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I just bought a boat out here. I got, like, it's literally a dream boat of mine. I have like this 19-foot Glass Pro, which is like this cuddy cabin style boat with twin Yamahas on it. And I'm 10 minutes away from the nearest ramp, and I can be in tuna grounds within a half an hour. Like, I'm catching mahi, I'm catching gray snapper, I'm feeding friends and family, I'm selling fish, I'm chartering. I'm guiding a couple bass guys tomorrow. So, I mean, a little plug, if you guys are coming out to Hawaii and you want to get on some fish, hit your boy up. So, I mean, yeah, it's,
so you're how often are you doing charters?
You know, it's something that I'm since I just got back, and I just got the boat about, I don't know, I want to say a month and a half ago. I just got everything kind of dialed in. So I got 2 next week. And so 1 tomorrow. So it's, you know, it's still, I think it's just going to snowball. But then amongst other things, and later on we can talk more about the show that I'm developing right now. But yeah, no, it's been cool, man. I don't envy my friends that are back in Texas right now that are dealing with the snowstorm, and I don't envy you that you're having to shovel snow 10 times in the past.
Well, no, five times the last 20
5.
hours. But that's
sorry.
nothing to do with the Elite Series. That's just where I live. The Elite Series is supposed to save me from that, but we're starting in Gunnersville, so I have a feeling it's not really going to save me this time.
No, it should be cold there.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It'll be chilly willy.
It's going to be. It's definitely going to be. So let me ask you this and be totally honest. And I know you always are. If you had a requalified, would you be back?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think your time... Sorry, go ahead.
I will. The reason why I say that is because I wholeheartedly believe that I had an opportunity to fish the elites. I took it. I stepped through that door. I fished my heart out. And I thought that, this could be a couple years and this will be cool. And after doing it for 4 full years, I was like, nah, it's great. And for the people that can do it, and it's awesome. But for the people or for the guys that don't understand how intense it is, how competitive it is, it's very draining.
Yeah.
Physically, emotionally, mentally, all of the above. And I just remember even after my second year, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this forever.
You knew quick.
I knew immediately. And this is the sad part about it is that, and I don't, and this is where, right, this is like the loaded question, right? Everyone's like, well, all the electronics and that stuff. And I'm like, look, I got good at scope. I feel like I'm decent at it. I definitely top 10 with it before. I've top 10 without it. The 2 times I top 10, but like it kind of killed it for me in a sense where when I qualified, I didn't have it on my boat. I had next to no electronics. Bass fishing to me was always like this thing of excitement and the unknown, right? Fishing for me personally is the excitement of the catch. And so that really started taking some of the fun out of it. When I'm immersed in nature and being forced to stare at a screen due to the competitiveness of the nature of the tournament space, which that's what it is now. I don't care who anyone says or what anyone says. It is. If you're not scoping, you're hoping, and if you're not good at it, you're going to get left in the dust. And regardless if how they're doing half and half, it's guys are still I don't know. Like, again, I enjoy the technology, but I think I enjoy more the excitement of not knowing when it's going to happen. And that's why for me, saltwater fishing right now, and like looking back at my baits and knowing, ooh, they're starting to get a little excited. I think that like something might happen. And then out of nowhere, poof, a 60-pound yellowfin tuna eats. And I'm just like, like that brings that excitement back to me, that when I was a little kid on the bank. And that's what it's about. And that's not like people are like, well, like I don't care what people think, honestly. That's for me the excitement.
But here's the problem in the world right now, to be honest, and everything is you don't have to care. You should always be making the decision that makes you happiest, no matter what it is. Like no matter, literally.
Yeah.
And the problem in the world today is people are going to hear you say this, and people that are against forward facing are going to be like, yes, he is a speaker of the truth. And people that are for it are going to be like, well, he unqualified for the elites, and that's why he's saying this.
No, I think.
But at the end of the day, you should still say what you believe.
Today's high-tech fishing world can be a real pain in the neck, especially if you're running the wrong mount. Beat Down Outdoors, they bring the graph to you. And they support this podcast and care enough about you to make this a short ad read. Check out Beat Down Outdoors. Now back to the show.
And ultimately, I've always said this. Anyone who's had like a deep conversation with me knows that I'm like, yeah, I've learned a ton from scoping, and I've had a blast doing it, and I still, like, on the Texas boat, I'm gonna put a scope on there for sure, because especially if I come back to Texas and I guide on fork a little bit or whatever, like little trips or whatnot, I'm still gonna use it because that's just what bass fishing is now. It has evolved, and so I was able to move with that evolution of the sport, but ultimately it changed it for me from what it was when I was a little kid. And I'll never forget. It was like my first year on tour. Mark Daniels Jr. said this to me, and at ICAST, back when ICAST was cool, and he said,
"It's not cool anymore."
I wouldn't say so.
Okay, sorry.
We'll get into that. I think a lot of people would agree with me. The classic's still cool, but iCast not so much. But anywho,
you should have seen Vegas iCast. It was the greatest.
That was like, I think the golden years of what iCast, like that was the golden years of iCast, was when it was at Vegas, and now it's like a trick and pony show, pay to play mess. But we won't get into that. So
this is the face that I make when I'm like, wow, a lot of people are going to watch this podcast.
Hey, and you know what? Everyone has their right to an opinion.
Yeah.
But and so, not to say that I won't ever go to one again, but that's just how I feel about it. Okay, so what was I saying? He said, Mark Daniels Jr. told me that, one, I was so stoked to meet him because I've always looked up to him being from like a West Coast angler and whatnot, and how like what he's done. And I always studied his career and how he got to the top, to the pros. And he told me,
dude.
Incredible guy. And he goes, Matty, do this as long as you're having fun. And as soon as you're not having fun anymore, that's when you know when to pull it. And I always carried that with me in my back pocket. And even in the first year, after I think it was, I did an open on Toho. We did Harris Chain right into another St. John's. It was St. John's.
St. John's in the Harris Chain, yeah.
St. John's in the Harris Chain, because I got a camera day one. I'll never forget that. And then I went from like almost making a top 10 to literally getting second to last place on Harris, and then getting polygraphed. That was the first time I took a polygraph. But
welcome to the elites.
Jeez, we won't get started with that. But like either way, there was 5 events that I did, and then I fished the classic. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4 events that were consecutive in a row. And the only day that I had, or the only couple days that I had off, were the Sundays that I didn't make, which I think were all 4. So I had 4 days off in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was so burnt out from fishing and from rigging, from driving, from all of it, that I'm like, I almost wish I had a genie in a bottle that I can just like go like this and just make it all just poof, disappear. And it was my friends and my family and the fans that kind of kept me just pushing through it all. But besides that, the fishing part of it, the competition part of it, I was over it. And that was on my first year. I was like, dude, I'm so burnt out from fishing, from doing this, that like, this is not fun to me. And like Mark's voice instantly popped in like, bro, and then I had like, it took, first year was kind of brutal. And then second year I did a lot better, you know? And I figured some stuff out. I was like, all right, I know this is going to be growing pains and whatnot. And I learned some stuff. I learned how to deal with some stuff. And it became more and more doable to me. And I started having fun again. And I was like, okay, this is fun. And then the third, like, you know, a couple things happened that made me really think, is this for me? When we'll give an example, when I top 3'd on the Sabine River.
Yeah.
And when I was shocked and stoked that I made it to the Sunday and I had a shot at winning. But then 2, it also showed me that people will do savage things and say some wild things to your face that will never that will truly not reflect their character, but they'll just say it just to say stuff. And I'm like, I don't ever want to compromise who I am just to win a trophy or to make $100,000. And so I've also learned in this, it is such a cutthroat game that people will say and do some wild stuff because that's all they think about is getting a trophy or winning $100,000. And for me, fishing has never been about winning, about trophies and whatnot. Fishing for me has been a lifelong journey of passion. And that's when I started to see this thing change for me. And and so the third year was like.
So wait, I gotta ask because I'll hear about it. What happened? Like, I mean, I don't know how much detail you want to get into, but I mean, you throw
let's just put
out there, and
let's just put it this way: when certain people say that, like, that I've earned their respect, and that's something that money can't buy, and that's the last words that they say to me the entire time that I'm on the elites, you could go ahead and keep it, because like, and that's the stuff that I'm just like, bro, like, you literally said that on camera and you hadn't said a single word to me. We had launched right next to each other. A year later, 2 years later, I even wished him, like, you know, happy Father's Day and other stuff. And like, to never, ever get like what's up, Matty? How you been? Like, what's going on? It's just like, I just trip out on how, like, I'm like, whatever. But you know what? It's behind me. It's in the past. So I don't need to like dig up old bones. But I said, like, that's just one of the things that made me realize that, you know what? I don't need a blue trophy to know that I'm like deep down inside a good person. I just like, so it is what it is.
Is that, I mean, first of all, I don't see that side because I guess I say hello to everybody. I don't understand that there's people that don't say hello to each other. Like, is that just to get in people's head? Like, is that a competition thing, or is that just
that's a character thing.
So it's high school.
Like, it's legit high school. The elites is high school. I will say that confidently. Legit, the elite series is like high school. Everyone has their cliques. You have your popular kids that think that they're the coolest on the block. And then you have people that are like genuinely good humans that I will still call up and be like, how's it going, bro? Like, how's life? And the people that I consider that I have lifelong friends. Other people, I can care less if they ever reach out to me and ever again. And in fact, even if they have my number, I hope that they lose it, because there's people on there, I'm serious, that are just like, I'm like, bro, like, I know why you're in this, and you've given me enough instances where I don't need to involve myself with those type of people. And that's it. And I'm not going to go on and be petty and start naming names, but that's just what it is. You got people that are out there preaching positivity and not being positive in real life. You got out there people that are really, really, really intelligent, even though they play a complete dummy. You know, you have like people out there that are trying to play the underdog, but are pretty cutthroat and brutal, and will say anything just to try to get an upper hand. So it's a wild game of high school. And yeah, I mean, I don't care at this point.
But, hey, it's your experience, right? Like,
it was.
It's much like high school. Everybody has a different experience. But I mean, you're giving your truths and what you experienced, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Am I the guy you were talking about with the positivity?
Oh no!
I'm joking. That gotta be awesome. Yes, you. It's you son of
no. It's not you. It's like, I think, that's.
I don't need to know.
I'll tell you when we're off air, but
I'm sure.
I don't need to. I don't need to out anyone. They know who they are, and it is what it is. There's a couple people that have just left such a bad like taste that I'm just like, bro, like, I see you and I want nothing to do with it. And these are people that are fairly successful on the elites. And you're like, all right, dude. And it's, hey, but that's what it is. And like, I'm so grateful. And I will say this with that I had just mentioned, I will also say that through my 4 years of being on tour, I was able to meet hundreds and if not thousands of incredible humans.
Yeah.
People that have could give the shirt off their back generosity, people that have opened their doors with open arms and big smiles, people that in a million years that I've never would have connected with, I have a connection with, and that I say that I'm still friends with now. And that is something that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, most of the competitions out of the, I don't know, 40 competitions I did as an elite angler, I can maybe remember a handful of experiences of fishing. But the rest of it is these relationships that I developed and that have kind of grown into something really special over the years. And that, I would say, like, when I'm popping down to Florida and I'm going to go stay with my buddies, or if I'm going to be in Tennessee and go, like, that's the part that I'm going to miss the most, is being able to like go check in with my friends down in Alabama, the Alabama Bass, it's like that's the thing that is like the most rewarding part of the whole experience of being an elite angler. The competition itself, very, very cutthroat, very grueling. And again, I didn't start fishing to win a trophy. I started fishing because I was a 2-year-old kid that loved the feeling of when a tilapia ate a piece of bread off the tip of a bamboo pole. And so I'm getting in touch with that again as I move home. And it's been the most rewarding and fulfilling thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, you already said one season in, you were like, I know this isn't for a long time, but and that's totally fine. Do you think, technique wise, skill wise, do you think you were ready for the Elite Series when you qualified?
Definitely not. No.
You did a lot of learning on tour.
I didn't have scope on my boat. I didn't have side scan. I didn't even have a proper 2D down on my little Ranger.
1990 Ranger, right?
1990 Ranger that unfortunately I'm selling right now because I don't ever. Yeah, it's in California. I never fish it, and makes me sad. But anywho, I had to learn how to use side scan when I was breaking in the Ranger that they gave me after winning Bass Nation, or gave me. They loaned me this boat, and I remember idling around Toho and be like, oh, wow, this is what these guys were showing on YouTube about side scan. Because I literally didn't have it. And then scope, I also didn't understand, I didn't fully get it either. And so there were certain techniques too. A shaky head. I maybe made less than 10 casts with a shaky head before I got in the Elite Series.
Yeah.
Truth. But there is pinging a minnow, like strolling and that whole thing. Never did that before. I would do like the equivalent of like the ball head and the old swim bait as everyone did, before scope became prominent, but it wasn't like keeping an eye on a fluke doing that deal. Or I don't know, like there's like a handful of different techniques, but I would say like the Delta and all that really prepped me up for the elites and being able to fish Castaic and all that. So like, I feel like I was pretty dialed with that. I wish I had an entire year with electronics before I got on the tour, because I remember it was Pickwick. My year one was the first time I'd ever actually caught a bass off of scope. And now you have kids that are in high school that are doing crazy things with it. Oh. And it's like, it's wild, you know,
Yeah.
like, and
like you never
So
fished a national tour before the Elite Series,
No.
right? Like you literally went from a
West Coast
regional area, West Coast fishing. You
West Coast clubs to fishing Havasu, which was like as far east as I had been, and then to winning on the Ouachita River in Louisiana, and then boom, you're on tour. Never fished Florida, never fished Tennessee, never fished New York, but I had to figure it out. It was fight or flight, you know? And I feel like my passion being a lifelong angler, I'm like, let's do this. Yeah. And I learned. I learned. I love to learn. And so like my first year, absolutely got my butt handed to me, but I made notes and I still have them in my phone. I still take a log. It's when I saltwater fish, I still take a log. But every single time that I've hit the lake, I have detailed notes of that experience. Every tournament that I fished, whether it's the elites or a club level, I have detailed notes about what went on. And so I was able to collectively use those notes and my experiences and my memory as I went on. And I felt like I became more and more competitive. And when you also learn how to, one, like keep your circles small, when you learn to not listen to too much dock talk, when you learn to like, you have your certain people that you trust, and you're like, that's it, man. Like that's like, and then you just grind and you grind and you grind and you grind. And yeah, I just.
Outside of logs, how did you learn? Like, were there anglers willing to help you? Were you on YouTube every night? Like, how do you learn?
This is the funniest part because once you make it to the elites, right? Everyone's like, oh no, you got it. You're an elite angler. So like, why do I got to show you? And so I'm like, sick guys. Like what? Like, can someone show, like, I had Jonathan Kelly was like, hey, you should probably like set your side scan to this. And I'm like, oh, okay. I had Taku Ito saying like, yeah, in Matty-kun, like when you're side scanning rock, do this distance and then this. And then when you're scoping, use this. And so it's like people that opened their experience to me that were my fellow competitors. And I'm like, okay, I'll show you some glide bait techniques. Cause like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, I'm a pretty beast swim bait fisherman. And so I'm like, I'll give you what I understand on the glide bait side, on the swim bait side, try to give me some other stuff. And so it was this trade of information and knowledge that helped me gain just little tidbits of competitive advantage over time. But it wasn't like everyone's like, oh yeah, here's the book. Like, this is how you fish the elites, or like, you know, like this is how you want to catch a fish on the TVA, you know, when they're not pulling current, like this is what you do. Or like, or when they are up on the ledge and they're eating, this is what you do. Or like when you go down to Texas in a cold front, this is what happens. This is what you do. Like, I'm like,
it's nobody, like in the history of the elites, nobody's ever said it's a great place to come and learn. Like it is a horrible learning environment.
Horrible. Everyone wants to beat you. Everyone wants to see you get kicked off tour, with the exception of your friends that you've made that are, regardless of the fishing, that are just good humans. And I'll go back to saying that.
Why don't you think they really wanted you kicked off tour, Matty?
No,
I think they just wanted to beat you. Like,
but certain people probably would like be fine with never seeing my face again. And like, and then you have other people that genuinely we connected, and whether it's competitively or not, they're my boys. Yeah. And I'll still say that. And I will say too, and it's more of the side of people are my boys and that I'm still friends with today. And luckily, because I don't like having beef with anyone, but when people do some pretty warranted crap for some pretty BS stuff, I will say, yeah, miss me with that and have a good life. Good luck. And those people, I could probably count on one hand. And yeah, but everyone else I mean, they were bummed to see me go. I remember my last day in Mississippi, I was getting everyone signing my jersey. And even if we had like, because you eventually will run into on the water and you have like, you know, like, hey man, I was here yesterday. Oh, cool. Like, well, I didn't see you here during practice, and you know, that kind of thing. Like, it just happens. But to like, hey bro, it's been a pleasure fishing with you, and like big hugs. It's like, man, you're a good person. And I'm like, you are too, bro. Like, I can see you. And those are the relationships that I'll always cherish, and that's the memories that I'll always go back through, because ultimately at the end of the day, the competition side, yes, it takes skill to win. There's a lot of skill that's involved, but then on the elites, to win a 4-day tournament, you got to fall on something pretty special.
Yeah,
and that's it, and that's the reality. Someone can tell me otherwise, but you have to fall on something special, and something really everything has to go your way. And everyone that has a blue trophy will tell you that that if it wasn't for like this one little thing that like happened during day 1, day 2, or day 3, you would have never got them to day 4. And same thing with me when I almost won on Sabine. Like I didn't know that was a magic stretch. I just checked back in on it at the end of the day after I had a decent bag, and turned out that spot moved me up 60 spots. And then I almost won the tournament off of it.
Yeah.
And then had to compete with, never mind.
It feels like you have a lot of, do you think you need some therapy after this?
Oh yeah, I definitely
there's
do.
some demons floating around in your head.
Oh yeah, it's frustrating. It definitely is, because when you have people that are like, bro, I wish you would have never done that. And I'm like, bro, I wish I never would have either. If I knew what I know now, I would have never let that happen. But that was because who I am and where I grew up and how I was raised, that's not pono. That's not right. And so that's why I did what I did. I don't take it back. It was a learning experience. And again, that was what I needed to see too. I needed to see like how cutthroat it can get and how brutal it is out there. Well, and that was a learning experience.
How brutal is it? Like, how often do these things happen? And how
Not
bad
often.
does it get?
It's so funny. So, like I was, for instance, like the second to last event, Saint Clair, I went out to the shipping channel and caught him during practice. I caught a 6-pounder, and I had it marked. I'm like, 6-pounder, that's a 6-pound fish in the shipping channel. I'm going to go back here at some point. And I remember going out there at the afternoon of day 1. I had it, again, all to myself in the area, in the zone that I was fishing. And then day 2, I remember running back out there. And then good old boy was out there. And he stopped on my literal pin that said 6-pounder. And I'm like, all right, he's leading. I'm going to give it to him. And he eased off of it after fishing it for a half an hour, and he kept going. I eased onto it because I have a waypoint there. I've been there. I caught a fish there in practice. I caught a 5.5-pounder, and we had conversations and it was fine. And then I was beating him that day. And then we went back to, I went back to that spot again. And then he absolutely lost his stuff on me and cursed me out. And I was like, dude, I thought we were cool, man. And he said a bunch of words and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I know I have the waypoint. I know that I have the right to be here. I don't care that I gave you your space when you needed it, but I'm not going to just like, I've learned not to just roll over and just say, here you go. Like this is all yours. It has your name written all over it. I'm like, bro, I'll show you the waypoint if you want to come over to my boat right now and see it. And it was at the end of the tournament, I was like, you know what? I'm still going to be the bigger person, bro. Like, hey, no hard feelings. I can show you the waypoint if you still want to see it, but like, good job. And he told me to F off. And I was like, all right, bro, I see you. and I'll never forget that. I'm like, all right. And that's just an example of like the stuff you deal with. And it's like true colors show. And I don't need those type of people in my life. And so I'm not here to like steer anything up. I'm just here to share a real life experience that happened to me when I was on the elites with someone where I'm like, yeah, this is what happens, man. When you're fishing for $100,000 and you got people's egos involved, you got all this other kind of stuff, and you're like, all right, like I'm good. You know, for me, what was more special to me more than anything during that tournament was, well, one, catching a 5.5 all 3 days was pretty sweet. But then I think I caught one on the third day too. But having my parents there. And yeah, like in 4 years, they came out to Okeechobee, the Classic, and then St. Clair. And more than anything else, it meant the world to me that my dad and my mom were there to see me off in the morning.
Dude, and I will tell you this, and I'm sure you see it to some extent, but I also think you don't because you're busy and you're in the moment. But I'm surrounded by everybody's family. And everybody's proud of their kids. But dude, the smile on your parents' face, like I just think of many moments like at the Classic and stuff. Clearly, I don't think the Elite Series was something that was meant to be for you for a long period of time, you know? But I just think like as a kid, that's pretty cool to make your parents that happy. I mean, it's pretty cool to see them watching their kid chase a dream that obviously was not easy. You know, the stuff that you're talking about happening on the water, do you think in some ways you should have expected it to be that way? Like it's the top. I mean, if you watch the NFL or if I watch anything else, and I get it, like if I watch it, dude, if an 80-year-old man comes on the treadmill beside me at the hotel, whether he wants to admit it or not, we're in a race. Like there's
game
on.
He
turns his treadmill fast, so I know how competitive people we are.
For sure. Like, but just in hockey, right? You can get in a fight with someone. Literally, you get in a fist fight with someone, and then afterwards, you're like, "Hey, man, that was a good scrum." And you give him a shake and you give him a hug, and it's water on the bridge because that's a sport, right? Yeah. And I was trying to do that, and I was like, "Look, bro, like I grew up in a fight. Like in Hawaii, I don't care what anyone says. We have a fighting culture here. You have a problem with someone, go outside, go scrap, 1-on-1. No one jump in, go scrap. When it's pow, when it's finished." Shake hands, hug, you're boys now. Or if you're not boys, at least there's respect. There's mutual respect there. But when I'm going to try and say, hey, brah, no hard feelings. Good job this week. It is what it is. And then to be met with an F off, I laughed. I literally laughed out loud. It's just like, okay, it is what it is. But I would have expected it to a certain extent, but I also didn't expect the outcome like at the end of it. Because I thought that, you know, like we're all men, or at least I thought we were, that we're all men, that we can like get over stuff and not take things personally or whatever. And it's just things happen out on the water. Grow up, shake someone's hand, and then, you know, say your dues and you're out. But yeah. I don't know. People are raised differently. That's how I was raised, and I don't expect everyone else to understand how I was raised. And I think whether you agree with me or you don't, that's just how I do things. And I don't like having bad blood with people, and I'd like to say that I don't have a lot of people that I have bad blood with.
Avco not only makes incredible outdoor clothing, but they care about anglers with their 10% pledge. Avco and the Shed family donate at least 10% of the company's profits to conservation and making fishing better. Now back to the show.
I just also wanted to just give an honest experience that went down. And again, like when I share this with like someone like close, I don't go ahead and just blow that out there. I'm not the guy that's going to like take the clip. I mean, I might put it on my YouTube, but I'm like to take the clip and be like, blast it out there just to go and get views. Like that's not my deal.
Yeah.
You asked, and so I'm going to share, and that's it. And that kind of, it didn't happen a lot. It happened. It literally happened. I want to say it was like thing. There was one with at one point, but me.
Oh wow! You said you weren't naming names. Now you're just dropping them all like.
I don't care. Yeah, but it's like, and then there was one with, and so like but like that's over the course of 4 years, man. Besides that, everyone else is just like, everyone's straight up. Everyone's like, oh, it's all good. Like for example, Okeechobee, when I did good, I caught those 2 7s in one day. I mistimed it day 2, and I came in there, managed to get my fish. Day 3, I started in there, and Bob Downey was in there right off the same spot that I caught the 7. And he's like, "Hey, Matt, you mind if I fish the island?" I was like, "Sure, Bob." I was kind of saving it, but you know what? Like, go for it. And then afterwards, I told him, I was like, "Yeah, like I caught the 7 off of that." And he's like, "Oh, like no, dude, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Bob, you caught him better than I did, bud. Like you go and like do your thing. And you know what? Tomorrow, I hope you go ahead and like try and get as close as you can to Brandon, because you're not going to catch him, but you'll get as close as you can." And but I have the utmost respect for Bob. I love that guy.
Yeah,
Bob Downey's the man. He is the man. And again, that's just what I'm talking about when it comes to like people's characters. And those are the things that I'm going to remember the most throughout like the rest of my life. When I look back on the elites, is that there was those people out there that were just such good humans, and that I would still consider my friends for the rest of my life. And then other people that I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. That being said, I think if you worked in a factory, you'd have the exact same thing to say. If everybody makes a retirement speech at any factory, be like, "Yeah, there's a bunch of you that I love, and I can't believe we've been on this magical tour together. And there's a bunch of you that I really just wish there was less of you."
You just go kick rocks, because I could care less. But like, I didn't hop on here to throw shade. I didn't hop on here to do anything like that. I just, you wanted me to share some real life experiences of what it's like to be on the tour. And that's it. That is what it is. I will say there was more positives than there were negatives throughout the whole experience. I'm still very, very grateful that a lot of the companies are still supporting me in my newest endeavors and what's going on. It's cool now where content and social media and whatnot, YouTube, you can still make a living.
Yeah.
Doing it.
And the Elite Series could have been an incredible gateway. Like, let's be honest.
Exactly. 100%.
A lot of people know who you are now because of that. You'll always have that street cred, so to speak, to put to your name. You fished a Bassmaster Classic. You know, you won the Brian Kershaw Trophy. So if you close your eyes and you have to think of like highlight moments on the Elite Series, like that, the moments where you're like if somebody said, "What's it like to be in the Elite Series?" and you gave them like the positive stuff, like boom, boom, what are they? What are those moments?
When I had to make a 45-minute run on the St. Lawrence River, heading towards a spot that I had only caught 1 4-pounder in practice, knowing that I had to top 10 this event, and there was 6 to 8 foot, occasional 10 foot open lake, not open ocean, but open lake swells. I didn't have a marshal with me because he probably would have been crapping himself, but I was surfing I was surfing the trough and like hitting the lip like I was surfing, and I was laughing, and I was like, bro, this is so sick. But I'm like, I hope I catch him, because like I only caught a couple fish here in practice. And then go in and catch it, and I think what it was, like 26 pounds or something, like and then I caught 25 the next day, and then another 25, and it was like leaning on a 6.5 pounder as it jumped out of the water. And like those running back in and knowing that you have a bag is probably like, I get chicken skin or goosebumps or whatever you want to call it, thinking about those moments when you know you have a bag and you're coming back in and you're like, this is going to be sick. Or when I caught that almost 10 pounder during the fork event on a glide bait, and I had, you know, my friend and my girlfriend in the boat, like watching me, and like and a few other like spectator boats cheer me on, and being able to bring that fish to the stage and share that with everyone like that, or not knowing how I was going to end up doing on the Sabine River, and then ended up leaving with a $30,000 check, and being able to see probably 5,000 or more people down in Orange, Texas, and to get everyone to chee-hoo like that. Like those are the moments that will outweigh any of the negative. Like, you know, and I know that, yeah, it's like those are the ones that will just like forever. That will just that will outweigh everything. And when it comes to my time on the elites, and then ultimately to when I was fishing the Classic or the St. John's or the St. Clair event, and to look up in the crowd and see my parents, and to see like the look on their face and how happy like they were to support their son, like those are the ones that I'll like, that are forever burned into my skull.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that. And then also the little kids at the end, where you get off of the stage and they're all lining up to get your autograph, and they're looking at you like you're some type of superhero or something, and you're able to sign their jerseys and their hats and take photos with them. I think it was the third season we ended on the St. Lawrence River, and this little kid asked me for my jersey, and I was like, man, I only got 2 of these, you know. And I was like, and he was like, oh, that's whatever. And then I was like, no, this is one of those moments that will impact this kid forever.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I took my GoPro off, and I said, hey buddy, 1 second. I took my GoPro off, and I gave it to him, and he's like, well, what are you doing? And I was like, just hold on to this. I took my jersey off and I signed it, and I said, here you go, bud, keep fishing. And then he started crying and like uncontrollably weeping. I'm getting emotional thinking about it, because like that's how impactful it was for me. And his dad to later send me a message saying like this kid works so hard at fishing and loves this so much. His jersey's hanging up in his room. You have no clue how much that meant to him. And I'm like, no, I think I do, because I was that little kid that when the local TV star in Hawaii, that was the fishing guy named Mike Sakamoto, took a photo with me and then signed it was a literal paper fan, and I still have it. And it's like paper fan, and he signed it, and there's a Polaroid photo of me and on it. I was that little kid that I'm like, I'm going to keep this forever. And this is what's like driving me to fish, is like that moment with Mike Sakamoto and like what he meant to me and all that. And so for me to like give that back to someone was like, that's when I knew, like, I was like, I made it, man. Like in fishing, like that was, I would say like, those are like the pinnacle moments of my elite career.
Yeah. those interaction with the local people is incredible. It's incredible, the people that show up for an Elite Series weigh-in. Like I'm still blown away by, and there's one of those kids in every audience. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for getting that out of me. Jeez, guy.
Yeah. $150 an hour therapy session.
Thank you. Are you available again next week, Friday? I mean, I got a couple other things I'm trying to work out, obviously.
So what now?
Well, I'm happy to share that I am currently developing a fishing outdoor lifestyle show called Catch and Carve. I'm in the funding process. So that's another thing. If anyone out here that's listening and wants to support, please reach out to me on my social media or, any of my pages. I got a handful of companies that are working with me on this, and it's going, man. And I'm really excited to be able to share it with everyone. I don't have a timeline yet. I will say that we do have an episode that has been fully completed, and it's exciting. It really is. And so it's a little bit of fishing. It's a little bit of hunting. It's a little bit of, the inside of who I am at the core. A little bit of food, a lot of bit of people and community and culture. So I think it's a culmination of all the things that make me smile, and I think will make you smile as well. Anyone who knows who I am knows how passionate I am about a lot of these different topics, and there's stories and people that I want to highlight. And I will say that the roster of the people that have agreed to doing it is pretty stacked. I can't wait to share it with everyone. So that's what I got cooking right now. And in the interim, guiding and catching fish for friends and family, and working on renovating a place to stay so I don't have to crash out at the folks anymore. But these are all steps for the next chapter, and so it's going for sure.
Two things. It's an ironic name, Catch and Carve, because in this hour we've spent together, we've talked about catching, and you have done some carving.
Oh, yeah.
No, but more importantly, your transition is like the least shocking transition ever. Like, I remember the first words. I remember the moment we actually physically met, which was in the St. John's River, and you were back in your boat, and I was so excited to have you in tour I stand by everything I said that day. Yeah. I said, dude, you have every single thing it takes to be successful on the Elite Series. As long as you can catch them, everything else will take care of the rest. Yeah. And dude, I still stand by that. And the one catch up was catching them, to be honest, but it's also not. Everything happens for a reason, because, dude, at the end of the day, you clearly were not meant to do this. Like to me, I totally understand that, because, I fished tournaments growing up in my early 20s. I was like, I looked at the lifestyle and I'm like, that is not what I want anything to do. Like the way, I just like to do what Paul Nick does, to leave home and be gone for 6 months. And he's got his kids with him, and that makes it so much easier. But still, like, you are literally, he's owned a house for 6 years now, and he spent 6 months in it, probably cumulatively.
Collectively.
So it's not for everyone.
No.
And I think it's smart in any pursuit in life, to find that, like to find what is for you. And dude, you on a camera always works. So
thank you.
I think it'll be a good show. Like, so are we talking about TV? Are we talking about internet? Or
internet. And then with the possibility of TV later on, I think it's now in the modern day of consumption of content, it's like everyone's
need it. Yeah.
No one's like doing this anymore. Everyone's doing this, and everything's here. It's streaming is, I think for me, since I have the experience in Hollywood, both on behind the camera and in front of it, and that whole experience and understanding how networks work and all that stuff. Most of the time, networks, unless you have it baked in, they will want ultimate control, and they will, they want you to say and do what they want, not like giving you the ultimate creation freedom. And I think being able to share stories that are authentically me and uncensored and what I'm trying to get out and share with people, I want to be able to maintain that. So I think being able to do that through YouTube, which is great. I mean, so for those of you who don't already follow me or subscribe, you should go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube, Matty Wong Fishing. But it's I'll
put a link and everything in the description and in the
the whole stuffs. Yeah. But it's, I think that's why that's what we're targeting, that route. And I think that there's a algorithm of things that work and that are repeatable within the outdoor space that there's a forever appetite for. And I think being able to hone in on that in a unique way and to be able to share certain stories and highlight certain people is something that I think people will really dig and really be stoked on it. So, yeah.
So Perfect World, when does this come to the public? I know you're early in things, but is this something you want to have next year?
This is something that could potentially start filming, or the rest of the chunks, could be, for me, I'm trying to prioritize getting into a place that's not my childhood room, which I'm
Your
extremely.
parents are cool.
My parents are amazing, and I love them dearly. But it's like I tell people, it's like when you go back home, it's like you're putting training wheels back on, and and no matter how old you are, when you go back home, you still feel like you're putting training wheels back on, and I think that's my first goal is to get back into my own space. But then right now I have a producer in LA that I'm working with, and we're trying to figure out different ways on funding this thing, because to make high end quality content, you need a budget. And I'm again, I want to make it abundantly clear, it's not trying to get rich thing. This is just me trying to cover costs and get the stories out there. And I think everything else will follow, because I believe in what I'm doing genuinely and wholeheartedly, and everything else will follow. So I'm just trying to get the first season or two off. And I know once it gets off and it starts going, the rest will take care of itself. So that's just the main thing right now, is just trying to get it all funded, because that's just the world we live in. We need money to make money, and we need money to make content, because phones are fun and all, but I think you need to make an impactful story. You need many different types of mediums to depict each story. But
I think it also goes back to who you are as a person. Before we ever started recording, we talked about when you do something, you want to do it to its fullest. So like when you do a TV show, I'm sure you don't just want to have one guy over your shoulder and one shot. You want to tell the story it's how you roll. In everything you kind of do.
Well, You nailed it, man. I don't want to put out some half cap stuff. You know, I want to be able to roll out something that are going to make people like say, wow, that's cool. You know, and so I think our first episode reflects that. That's did some pretty cool stuff. That's all I'm going to say. I did some pretty cool stuff. So I'm really excited to share it with everyone. And when that time comes, it kind of all depends on how much support we end up getting to do it. But yeah, just
where do you go? Are you a planner? Like, where do you think you are 10 years from now? Or are you just, just float?
I like to plan to a certain extent. I feel like people that end up trying to over plan, life says, hold my beer, and then does what it does. So I'm a person that sets goals and strives for them. Some obtainable and some a little less obtainable, but all still obtainable, because everything is possible. And so I also evaluate risk and whatnot. And I think in 10 years, though, I'd like to say I'd like to have a family by then, because I'll be 47. So I'd like to have maybe a couple kids and a wife by then. And I think that that's like a chapter that would be challenging and exciting and whatnot. Cause I'm not no young spring. I'll be 38 next month. And so that's another reason why I knew that my time on the elites was short, because to keep a relationship and raise a family on the road is for a very select few people. And it is very, very, very difficult. So I give it to the people that were able to do it successfully. Like Brandon is an incredible role model for that. And what, Tiff and him have are something really special. And same to like say with Carl and everyone else that has a significant other that was, stuck with them through this journey. But for me, it's, I think it would be, I think
it goes back to what Brandon preaches, though. Like, he's always said, dreaming about the Elite Series isn't enough. Like, it has to be a nightmare for it not to be in your, and for Brandon, life without that is a nightmare. Like, when you talk to him, life without that pressure, life without that chase. And clearly you're not that guy. I mean, and you may be that guy with something else. You may end up being that guy with this show. You may end up being, you know what I mean? Everybody finds where they're meant to be. But I mean, and that is the truth. Like, if you think you think he kind of wouldn't mind being on the Elite Series, guess what? You don't have what it takes to stay in the Elite Series. You need to be like, well, it's simple arithmetic. I'm going to be on the Elite Series. That's what
it's like. It's either like that's everything. Like, you have to have such a divine focus that's what you want to do for the rest of your life. I thought that it would be the most incredible thing ever to be able to fish competitively, because I was so eaten up by it. I thought I was like, because that's all I was. I would work my photo job and work in Hollywood and do that, and then all my free time, boom, like fishing competitively. Doing clubs, doing other like ABAs, doing like everything that I could, BBT, everything that I could on the West Coast, I would do. And I was so consumed by it. I was like, man. And I looked up to Brandon Polnick, Carl, Mark Daniels Jr., Ike, like all these people. I'm like, you guys have the ultimate job. Like, you literally get to travel around and fish. And I was so jaded by it. I was like, that would be it. And then when it happened in 2021 and it was in front of me, I'm like, oh boy. Okay, here we go. Sold everything that I owned when I was in California, with the exception of 3 boxes that I sent back home to Hawaii. I bought a Tundra and never looked back. And everything, my whole life was in that truck. And then I went on this journey and I realized that competitive fishing isn't everything. That through trials and tribulations, through whether it's intense weather or if it's intense humans or it's not the greatest food, like it's like you there's certain things like, and not to like, there's really good food out there too, but I mean, like, I'm a foodie. I love to eat like certain styles of food, and not being able to eat certain things, I was like driving me nuts. But like, I realized throughout the years that I can easily do this for another, like, I could blink and 5 more years would go by.
Yeah.
I blinked and 4 years went by. Literally, I blinked and 4 years, like, poof, gone from my life. And I'm like, if I was maybe in my 20s, I would have a little more energy. I would have a little bit more like throw care to the wind kind of thing and send it. But I'm like, this is like almost like my 4th life or my 3rd life when it comes to careers. And I'm like, this is really, it's a lot when you're away constantly.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are dreaming to get onto the elites, I wish you all the best and all the luck to fulfill your dream. And I hope that you get to feel the same things that I got to feel. And then you can make up your mind for yourself, whether it's for you or not. But I can honestly say, for me, the elites is, I'm very grateful for the experience. But even if I had, like I said, even if I was to requalify, I think that was it.
At the beginning of this podcast, you said at the end of your time at the elites, you were burnt out, for lack of a better term. So if you were burnt out then, are you recharging? Is balance in your life, like waking up in the same bed, the same routine? Is it helping you come back?
The routine I'm still working on, because I think when you have no routine for 4 years, that's something. It takes time to develop a routine again. And since I'm I'm working on the routine part, and it is getting back slowly. I will say the battery is now almost fully topped off. And it was dangerously low, like to the point where it needed a jump start, and I think that being home, being around my close friends and my family has been the most rejuvenating, recharging thing that I could have ever asked for. Being able to keep relationships with companies and brands that truly believe in me, regardless of the elites or not, are the friendships and the relationships that I will cherish forever. And I'm so excited for what's to come.
Yeah.
I know that I'm forever going to be fishing and forever going to be learning. And so, yeah, I will say that I'm in a way better headspace now than I was 6 months ago. And yeah, I'm really grateful for it. Like I said earlier, I don't envy all the guys that are having to rush to get their boats wrapped and then turn around. Like, I can't tell you, probably like 3 out of the 4 seasons, I was down to 2 days of being able to, whether I can make it down to Florida in time to fish day 1 of practice, and getting my boat rigged or wrapped in time. And like, that pressure alone is a nightmare. And then the thought of like, yeah, it's yeah. And then like worrying about like if you're finding fish or you're not, and you're like day 3 and you've caught like a mediocre bag, and you're like, okay, well, what am I scrapping my whole practice and just gonna go fishing? And like, or like that whole pressure, and then everyone's looking at you like, come on, dude, good luck. I got you on my fantasy fishing. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like you've done good here before. It's like, it's fishing. But okay, like and then those are, so
I've run a Yamaha outboard for over 30 years. It has got me home safe each and every time. If you enjoy this podcast, remember, Yamaha supports it and they care enough about you to make this ad read very short. Now back to the show.
I think the public doesn't understand the pressure that never ends. Like it's like, it's relentless. Like you're going from one event to, but again, if that's not what you're meant to do, it's always what it's going to feel like. Guess what? Like I love my job, but if I had a different job, like prime example, tournament director, I would hate every bit of it. There's 100%. None of me that would want to be a tournament director. I don't care how smooth the year went. I would hate people looking at me like I don't know that
there's
I
so
have
much
any
responsibility to do. I mean, what Lisa goes through and what she has to, it takes a very unique individual to have that type of bandwidth and also knowledge and skill to do what she does. And she does it well, in my opinion. I think that she was an absolute pleasure to work with for 4 years and was very fair and was very understanding on both sides of it. And so it's like, that is a job that I don't wish on anyone. But ultimately it goes up the ladder too. But my
point is, if you're doing something that you're not, that you don't love, and it always becomes that way. You know what I mean? Like you're doing something like, my wife hates public speaking. Like her biggest fear is public speaking. So to actually do my job would be like literally she would wake up in a cold sweat saying, I have to, which is the weirdest thing in the world. The biggest fear in the world is public speaking. More people are scared of public speaking than snakes. You're all crazy if you ask me.
What's your biggest fear?
Probably snakes. Oh, no. Actually, I got claustrophobic. And it seems to be getting worse as I age. Very claustrophobic. Like, can't even think. Like, I can go as high in a building as you want, whatever.
But the fear of being trapped somewhere.
I don't like, I just don't like, those videos you see where the guy's like climbing in the cave and he gets stuck. Dude, I can't even watch that video. Like even talking about it now will plant that seed.
Wow. Oh, you should watch my freediving video where I hold my breath for a minute and a half and dive
that doesn't bother me.
Really?
See, that doesn't bother me.
But like through a cave. Through a cave?
Well, yeah, that's stupid. Why are you doing that? Stay out of the caves.
That was nuts.
Underwater, it is, but the caves. No, that's nuts. So did you do that? Like, is that just for fun or is that part of it? Yeah,
for fun. No, okay. It might be part of this. I think at some point there's definitely going to be free diving involved, bow hunting involved, ocean fishing, lake fishing, all of it. And it's a smorgasbord of outdoor enthusiasts life. Let's just put it that way.
I feel like that's you though. Like, I feel like like if you're really like, if I'm being totally honest, there's part of you that's an Elite Series pro, but there's also part of you that's a free diver. And then there's part of you that's a surfer. And then there's part of you that's a musician. And then there's part of you. But here's the difference between you and a lot of people. When you're in that part, dude, you are freaking in. Like when I watch you play music, I'm like, that's all that dude does. Look at the hat he's wearing. He is that guy.
Yeah.
When I see you freediving, I feel the same. When I saw you, that you throw yourself all in, but I feel like you're an octopus. An octopus? Poos? Not an octopus. That's a combination of a hippopotamus and an octopus, of course. You're an octopus.
You're an octopus.
You have many tentacles.
That's amazing. Clip that. Oh my gosh. Matty Wong's an octopus. Oh gosh. Yeah,
the chicks do dig you.
Yeah, right. I will say, there's a part of me that was that there was a few parts of me that were missing when I was fishing on the Elite Series. One, the waterman who I am. That's why one of the fondest memories of like when I was gigging to myself on the St. Lawrence River going through 8-footers, because I'm a surfer, like you said. I love surfing, and it's my workout. It's my therapy. It's my safe space. It's like, I love surfing. I love to surf. And then the other part of being a musician, I wasn't playing music on the road at all. I have a fear of getting a saxophone stolen. I've had one stolen from me before. And it's like, I didn't have any space in my truck to fit a horn, let alone to be able to bring it around and wait for like an opportunity to jam. I was too exhausted. And those two things, just reintroducing those two things into my life has made me feel so full, and a whole octopus again.
You're missing some of your tentacles, is what you're saying.
Dude, they were like little nubs. They're like not growing. And then I came home and they were able to grow out again, you know? And for those of you that don't know that, octopus.
Listen,
sorry.
Made one mistake, okay?
I was trying to actually say octopus, but it came out the way that now I'm the only way I'm going to say it with you now. But is that they have regenerating tentacles, and so I just being able to regenerate those tentacles in my life has made me a full octopus again, and now I'm like jamming my horn on one. I got my bow. I'm going on a bow hunt on Lanai in a couple weeks. I'm able to surf with my good friends. I'm able to go and free dive and then on another be able to go and still catch bass. And people are like, don't stop bass fishing. I'm like, for the rest of my life, I will forever be a bass fisherman. Yeah. It is one of my tentacles that I will never lose, because there's nothing like a sheet calm lake in the morning, the slow fog lifting, you're ripping 70 miles per hour and then cutting off to glide into the back of a cove where all you hear is birds and the crashing of bass on top water. And then you throw a glide out or a top water, just get absolutely, there is nothing like those feelings that I will want to have and want to share with people for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I will miss you on stage. We had many fun times on stage. And what I miss you most of all is that you're not in the Elites, because I totally would be calling you the octopus.
Well, it takes you 4 years to finally get a nickname for me, and I'm off now. So you can't. Dang.
Did you feel like you were missing a nickname? I feel like certain people don't. Dude, you came equipped with your own shtick. It was great. I thought.
Yeah, I didn't. I think that when you didn't give me a nickname, I felt this respect from you. That was really like it meant something, because I knew that you felt that way.
What nickname would I have given you? Like, what do you think? Like the Hawaiian. I don't know. And which I'm grateful that it didn't just like pop to mind and then I got one. Yeah.
But it's I think that I've had many awesome conversations with you on stage and fun interactions, and people just absolutely ate it up. And I think that that's part of what made my time on the Elite so successful, was my interaction with individuals and with the state. I mean, I'm going to miss doing the morning show with you too. I mean, that's something that I'm like, hey Bass, if you ever want someone to come back and, commentate, and have an insider, I told him I'm down. Got to fly me out though, but I think there's a part of the entertainer in me, and having the background and that I do, I just had fun with that, and not afraid of that, right? Because like you said, your wife's terrified of public speaking. For me, I've done it for years, and so I'm like, all right, like here we go, and to be able to mix it all together, I think I caught them the way I needed to catch them when I did. Made a pretty cool comeback when I needed, just to have a couple more years of experience. And I'm glad I wasn't a 2-round clown, if you will. And it happens. I'm not knocking the people that is like, I almost was that. It literally came down to the last event. But that's my own challenges. That was for me, my own goal. I wanted to prove to myself and to other people that it wasn't a fluke that I got in the elites, and that I can compete with the best in the world. And so when I requalified for my 3rd year and then I requalified again for my 4th, I was like, okay, I checked that off. I'm an elite angler, and no one will ever take that away from me. I don't care what they say. So
nobody's trying to take it away from you, Matty. I mean,
I think it's just
pictures. You got. I mean, I will miss having you on stage, but I have zero doubt that what you're going to do next will be great. And I think the most important thing is to be happy as a human, and you're doing what makes you happy, and that is what's most important in life. So I look 100%. Forward to following the many tentacles that is Matty Wong, because you're one hell of an octopus.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
How about this for the thumbnail? I'm not going to do this because I'm not this
just
motivated.
Like
but if I had time, AI, you out of an octopus.
You could do it. You could do it. I mean, it's honestly, it's a quick chat little like thing, and or you could grok AI me. Go for it.
Whether we do it or don't do it, guess what? Just because we've talked about it, someone's keener viewer is going to do it. Bring it on.
Do it.
It's almost better to challenge them to make it.
Yeah, let's see your best Matty Wong octopus.
No, dude, I thank you for everything that you brought to the tour. You were very inspiring. You brought a lot of the things that I pride in life, and that is happiness and smiling, and just, I mean, you were just always a pleasure to deal with. And just because that part of our life's done doesn't mean we're not friends. I mean, we're doing this, and I'm sure I'll have you on here again in the future. So if you're willing.
Of course.
Can we get you to play? Like, we need you to come back to the classic and play. What do you play? A saxophone, or what is it?
Yeah, alto sax. I mean, I could play all the saxophones, but I mean,
of course,
the alto saxophone is probably like my favorite. I mean, I debated when I fished the classic. I was like, like people were like, dude, you should like come out playing your horn. I'm like, I wanted to so bad, and I kick myself. I kick myself every day for not coming out playing the horn. But yeah, I could play the national anthem on the saxophone.
Then I would have called you the horny Hawaiian.
Oh boy. Well, then I'm glad that never happened.
Can we? I mean, I'm not in charge of this. Can we get you to come at some point and just play the Star Spangled Banner? Just like, I mean, I've heard them on the horn, and they're pretty bitchin', aren't they?
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, I'm down. It's just, totally. I'd be keen on that. It would be, people would be very confused and stoked. I think at the same time, they'd be like, wait, what? He's a musician too.
Yeah. Well, that's just, I think, they would be. They'd be. I think whenever you hear the national anthem, anything other than sung, it's a little confusing. I mean, sometimes it turns out cool. Yeah. I mean, sometimes, it's always cool. It's the American national anthem. Sure. Okay, that's what I better say.
There you go.
So thank you for your time.
Definitely.
Much mahalo. Did I say that right? Isn't that right? Thank you very much.
Yeah, mahalo nui.
Mahalo nui.
Yeah, nui is great. Is a lot is great, and yeah. So a lot of thanks. Mahalo nui, and mahalo nui to you too, Dave. And
so much mahalo is confusing because it's two different languages.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you were to just say it in Olala Hawaii, which is the Hawaiian language, I would say mahalo nui. But
so if I go to Hawaii and say much mahalo to people, they're just going to shake their head.
They would be pretty. They would laugh because knowing that you're a tourist, they would be like, "That's funny." But
how would they know?
I think you're your Canadian in you would give it away.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, dude. I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah. No, anytime. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, that was a ton of fun, man.
Okay, well, this is the awkward way we end it.
Bye. Oh, okay. Bye.
There you have it, a very open and honest octopus, Matty Wong. I thank him for his time, and I thank you guys for listening. Make sure to follow Matty and all his future endeavors. I'll put a link in the comments and in the description to his YouTube. Best way to follow all these, or to thank all these guests for being as open and honest as they are on this show, is to follow them. So please do that. That being said, each and every Monday, you can see Facts of Fishing, a full-length episode on YouTube, except for this past Monday, because to be totally honest, I was shoveling snow and forgot to upload it. So we will be back on our regular rotation every single Monday at 6 p.m., a full-length version of Facts of Fishing. You can also see us on Sportsnet 360 and the Outdoor Channel with the 19th season. Except for last week on Sportsnet, for some reason, there was a technical issue, and we didn't air Sunday at 9 a.m. They aired sports highlights instead. So here's the good news. For everybody who watches Sportsnet 360, you can watch Facts of Fishing twice this weekend, Saturday and Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Sportsnet 360. You can see Facts of Fishing and normal times on the Outdoor Channel because they played last week's show. I think that's it. I think that's all we got. I mean, this one was an emotional roller coaster. I mean, it was like a good movie. We laughed, we cried. It was everything in between. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I will get back to the books, continue to cram because the Elite Series is coming, and it's coming fast. This time next week, we'll be, ready to kick off the Elite Series. Remember, as always, everybody's fighting a battle, even if you don't see it. Let's fill the world with smiles and kindness, because that, my friends, is contagious. And that is something that all of us can work to make better. Even if you're already doing it, it can get just a little bit better. And you will make somebody's day better, and you could literally change their life. And guess what? It'll actually make you better. Or happier, anyways, in life. It's too short not to be happy. Have a great week. Enjoy being. And as always, Bob Cobb, take it away.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?